Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We are unpacking how to protect your home and finances with UK river level and flood alerts today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like UK river level and flood alert tracker so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in. We are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. So, today we are getting into something that, honestly, I think a lot of us just sort of push to the back of our minds flooding. Assad, this is your thing, and I have to say, I was reading through some of the background material and it kind of shook me a bit.
Yeah, no, I get that reaction a lot, actually. People hear flooding and they think, dramatic news footage somewhere far away doesn't apply to me. But the reality is, it's actually the costliest natural hazard in the UK, like full stop, number one,
Wait, the costliest above everything else?
above everything else. And the thing is, the Environment Agency estimates around 5.2 million properties in England alone sit in flood risk zones. That's roughly 1 in 6 properties.
1 in 6.
1 in 6, which is kind of a lot.
That is a lot. I always picture it as like houses literally backing onto a river, you know? The ones where you think, well, you knew what you were getting into. But that's not the full picture, is it?
Not even close. And this is the bit that catches people off guard. Surface water flooding. So that's from blocked drains, saturated ground, just water with nowhere to go. That accounts for around a third of UK flood claims. A third. So you could be on a street that's never flooded in living memory and still get hit.
That's actually a bit scary. Okay, so, and I almost don't want to ask this. What does it actually cost when a home floods?
Yeah, so the average cost of a flooded home runs to about £30,000. And that's not just the repairs, that's replacement contents, alternative accommodation while you're out of your house, and then just the months of disruption on top. For uninsured households, that bill just lands on you. There's no buffer.
30,000 pounds. That could wipe people out.
It could. And here's the thing that really gets me. The damage doesn't stop with the immediate bill. Flood damage can lift your insurance premiums by hundreds of pounds a year for a decade. It can complicate selling your property, and in serious cases, we're talking 10% to 25% knocked off your market value.
Oh, wow. So it just keeps following you around.
It really does, which is why I keep banging on about treating flood awareness as like routine household admin, same category as checking your boiler or knowing your council tax band. It's just one of those things, you know?
Right. Okay. So, practical stuff. How do we actually know when flooding might be heading our way? Because I know there's some kind of alert system, but I'll be honest, I've never really understood it properly.
Yeah, so the Environment Agency runs a 3-tier warning system in England, and there are equivalents: Natural Resources Wales, SEPA in Scotland, Department for Infrastructure in Northern Ireland. But the core idea is the same. 3 levels, and each one means something different. Does that make sense so far?
Yep, go on.
So the first level is a flood alert. That means flooding is possible. Be prepared. It's basically a nudge, an early heads up, often issued hours or even a full day in advance. Just, hey, pay attention.
Okay.
Second level is a flood warning. Now, this is different. Flooding is expected, immediate action required. This is when you're moving valuables upstairs, putting barriers on doorways, actually doing stuff.
So, flood alert is heads up, flood warning is go time.
Exactly. And then the third, which is thankfully rare, severe flood warning. Severe flooding, danger to life. Evacuation may be necessary, emergency services on standby. And I cannot stress this enough. If officials tell you to leave at that point,
You leave.
you leave. No debate. Property can be repaired or replaced, people cannot.
Yeah, no argument there. So, beyond the alerts themselves, you were telling me before we started recording about actually tracking river levels, like the raw data?
Oh, yeah. I actually find this bit kind of fascinating. So each monitoring station shows the current river level in meters, along with the typical range and, crucially, the level at which property flooding becomes likely. And what's really useful is watching the trend over, say, 6 to 12 hours. That often tells you way more than any single reading.
I hadn't thought about it like that. So, you're looking at direction of travel, not just where it is right now.
Right. And a couple of practical things. Levels rising sharply after heavy rain upstream, that's more significant than a slow, steady creep. Compare today's reading to the historic high for that station, not just to what's normal. And tidal stretches behave completely differently to inland rivers because you've got those twice daily tidal peaks layered on top of any rainfall surge.
That sounds complicated.
It's less complicated than it sounds once you get the hang of it. And actually, there's a great example of this working in practice. Sarah from York, her Riverside Terrace is a couple of streets back from the Isles. After the 2015 Boxing Day floods cost her $18,000 in uninsured damage.
18,000. Uninsured. Ouch.
Yeah, brutal. So after that, she started checking the false barrier gauge every time a named storm appeared in the forecast. And in late 2023, she spotted levels climbing 4 hours before her phone alert even pinged.
4 hours. That's a massive head start.
Massive. She fitted her flood door, moved everything off the ground floor, and came through with nothing worse than a damp doormat. The same storm soaked three of her neighbors who just relied on luck.
Oh, that's actually reassuring in a way. Like, it shows that being proactive genuinely works. It's not just theory.
100%. And look, you can sign up for free Environment Agency flood warnings, phone, text, email for your register postcode. Takes under 5 minutes at checkforflooding.service.gov.uk. They'll wake you up at 3 a.m. if a river's rising, which is exactly when you need to know.
Not the 3 a.m. call anyone wants, but definitely the one you need. Okay, so let's talk preparation. You mentioned something about a resilience audit?
Yeah. So the idea is before any alert comes through, you walk around your home with a notebook and you think like water. Where would it come in first? Air bricks, door thresholds, drain backflow, garage doors, downstairs toilets. You're not panicking. You're just making a list of weak spots you can address one by one.
Think like water. I like that. So, what kind of stuff would you actually buy?
Right. So a basic resilience kit, flood-resistant air brick covers, those are about $15 to $40 each. Door barriers or floodgates, typically $100 to $400 depending on your frames. Non-return valves on toilets and washing machine waste pipes. Sandbags or the modern hydrophobic alternatives. Raised electrical sockets, ideally at least 1.5 meters off the floor. And a waterproof box for documents, passports, insurance papers, deeds.
And what does all that add up to roughly?
Many of those are one-off purchases, and you're looking at maybe $300 to $600 in total. Compare that to a $30,000 average flood claim, and the math kind of makes itself.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a pretty easy calculation. What about, and this is a good tip I saw, photographing your home?
Oh, this is huge. Take 5 minutes, walk through your house, filming each room, opening cupboards. Just get everything on camera. If you ever need to claim, that footage is gold for proving what you owned and what condition it was in. Keep digital backups in cloud storage too, obviously.
Smart. Okay, so a flood alert actually comes through on your phone. What do you do? Like, in what order?
So you've usually got a few hours of prep time. Don't waste it. Check the river gauge trend for any updates. Move valuables, electronics, documents upstairs or on the high shelves. Roll up rugs, lift curtains off the floor, fit your flood barriers and air brick covers, charge phones, power banks, torches, fill the bath and some large containers with clean water in case main supply gets affected. Park the car on higher ground if you can. And this one matters. Check on elderly neighbors and anyone with mobility issues,
That's a lot to remember in the moment.
which is why you have it written down beforehand, like a physical checklist stuck on the inside of a cupboard door. You don't want to be trying to remember all this when you're stressed and it's pouring down outside.
Good point. And if it escalates to an actual flood warning?
Switch off gas, electricity, and water at the mains before water reaches socket level. Have a go bag ready by the door, medications, chargers, change of clothes, key documents, and then if it goes to severe, you follow whatever the emergency services are telling you.
Right. And then I was going to say, actually, what about afterwards? Because I imagine there's a real temptation to just rush back in and start cleaning up.
Yeah, massive temptation, but resist it. Floodwater is contaminated, structures might be unstable, and rushing in can actually weaken your insurance claim, which is the last thing you need. Photograph and video everything before you move or throw anything away. Contact your insurer before commissioning any repairs. They'll usually want their own loss adjuster involved.
And the drying out process, that takes ages, right?
3 to 9 months to dry a property out properly. And if you try to redecorate too soon, you trap moisture in the walls and end up with recurring damp. So patience is frustrating, but it's essential.
Okay, let's talk money, because this is where it gets really interesting. Tell me about Flood Re.
So Flood Re is a joint government and insurance industry scheme designed to keep flood cover affordable for homes in higher risk areas. And here's the bit that surprises everyone. It caps the flood element of your premium based on your council tax band.
Oh, so my council tax band directly affects what I pay for flood insurance? And you said it has an end date?
Yeah, Flood Re is scheduled to wind down in 2039. The market's expected to transition to fully risk-reflective pricing after that. So that gives you roughly a 15-year window to invest in resilience measures that'll keep your premium sensible long after the scheme ends.
So being proactive now is literally an investment in your future insurance costs.
Exactly. And insurers respond to this stuff. Install certified flood doors, air brick covers, keep a written flood plan and photo inventory, raised sockets, tiled or stone flooring downstairs. Tell your insurer about all of it. They're commercial creatures. Show them you're a lower risk. They'll usually reflect that in your premium.
And I imagine the flip side is also true if you try to hide stuff from your insurer.
Oh, don't get me started. Never lie or forget to mention previous flooding when applying for cover. Non-disclosure is one of the fastest ways to have a future claim refused outright, and then you're fully exposed to that $30,000 average bill with zero safety net.
Yikes. What about renters? Because I know a lot of our listeners rent.
Good shout. So buildings insurance is the landlord's responsibility, but contents insurance, that's on you as a tenant. And here's the thing, standard policies don't always include flood as standard. So check, don't assume.
Right.
And for landlords, if you own a rental property in a flood risk area, make sure your tenants have a clear flood plan. Your landlord insurance specifically covers flood damage and loss of rent. Repeated flood damage can also push a property's energy efficiency rating down because insulation gets ruined and patched rather than properly replaced. With minimum energy efficiency rules tightening, that's a financial consideration too.
I hadn't thought about the energy efficiency angle at all. That's a really good point. What about people who are buying, like house hunters?
Ask for a flood risk report alongside the standard searches. And if you're renovating, factor flood resilience into the design from day one. Things like sacrificial plasterboard, tiled flooring on the ground floor, a kitchen designed with raised plinths, these can turn a future flood from a catastrophe into an inconvenience. Much cheaper to build it in and bolt it on afterwards.
That makes a lot of sense. So pulling this all together, it sounds like the core message is really about building habits rather than just reacting to emergencies.
That's it. The households who come through flooding best aren't the richest ones. They're the ones who've made monitoring and preparation routine. Almost boring, honestly. Check your local river levels whenever there's been sustained rain or a named storm. Review your insurance documents once a year. Actually read the flood section. Test your floodgates annually so you're not fumbling with instructions in the rain. Replace sandbags before they degrade.
And you mentioned local knowledge earlier, talking to neighbors.
Yeah, this is underrated. Talk to neighbors who've lived on the street for decades. Find out about community flood plans. A lot of at-risk areas have volunteer flood wardens who know exactly which drains block first and which roads cut off when the river hits a certain level. That kind of street-level intelligence honestly beats any algorithm.
I love that. Okay, Assad, let's do a quick recap for everyone. So, number one, understand that the risk is broader than you think. 1 in 6 properties in England, and surface water means you don't need to live near a river.
Right. Number 2, learn the 3-tier alert system. Flood alert means be prepared. Flood warning means act now. Severe flood warning means potential evacuation, danger to life. And sign up for those free alerts. It takes 5 minutes.
3, do that resilience audit. Walk around, think like water, and spend the $300 to $600 on basic protection measures, because that's nothing compared to a $30,000 claim.
4, get your insurance sorted. Check if flood reapplies to you. Be honest with your insurer and tell them about every resilience measure you've taken. And remember, flood rewinds down in 2039, so invest in resilience now.
And 5, make it a habit. Check levels in bad weather, review insurance annually, keep that photo inventory updated, and talk to your neighbors.
That's it. It doesn't cost much, just a bit of attention before the next named storm rolls in.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Assad. This has been, honestly, a bit of a wake-up call for me personally. I'm gonna go home and do that notebook walk-around this weekend, I think.
Do it and film it on your phone while you're at it.
Fair enough. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially council tax bans and how to avoid overpaying, common landlord mistakes around MEES and Energy Performance Certificate C ratings, and UK wedding cost calculator and budget mistakes guide.
Exactly, and reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like UK River Level and Flood Alert Tracker right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include Environment Agency and Which Guide to Flood Insurance, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try UK River Level and Flood Alert Tracker, then read council tax bans and how to avoid overpaying, and use them together to take action today.